Okay, so not too many people sign up today. No worries. We'll manage anyway. It's a good thing that almost everyone that signed for some sort of mini speech, the thought of the day. That's great. But as a first step, I want to give the floor to Ilham. I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
No,
Who's
you
gonna
didn't.
be our timer for today? So tell us
Yes.
what you're going to do.
So I'm basically going to show three colors: the green color, the yellow color, and the red color. The green color will tell you that you're still have a lot of time left. The yellow is that it is soon to be done, and the red, that means that your time is done. That's it.
Okay, that was short and sweet. A short reminder why we and why do we do that? By the way, Ilham? Is there a reason? Is it for punishing the speakers?
No, because sometimes a speaker do not know, sometimes they repeat themselves over and over and over again with without reaching a conclusion. So we have to tell them how much time is left so they can be as concise as possible. And yes, that's it.
Yeah, indeed. Some people just ramble on and on and on like me. And as I always say, in real life, you don't have the luxury of having unlimited time to make your point. Now, we didn't. No one signed for grammarian, so I had to improvise quickly something. And today we're going to have a word that is often mispronounced, by the way, and it is this one. Do you know what it means? I mean, it's written all there in the definition, but how would you pronounce it?
Mischievous.
No?
Mischievous.
Yeah, exactly.
Mischievous.
Now, the accent is on the first syllable. It's mischievous. And that's why I bring it up. It's mischievous, yes. It's mischief, but then it's mischievous. Well,
Mischievous.
look, no rules in English. And usually it's used to, it's an adjective, right? And it indicates something that is annoying, but in a harmful way, in a negative way, but sometimes also it has a connotation of being like jokish or playful or even irresponsibly playful, as it's written there. So you could say that the person is mischievous or an act is mischievous, and it would mean that it was negative in a sort of playful way, a bit annoying, like a prank. It's gonna be a hard call to use it, but let's try. And I'm also going to be counting. I'll write it in the chat because I want to stop sharing my screen so that we see each other. Let me paste the word in the chat. What were they? Mischievous. And without further ado, let's move to our first speaker for tonight, who's going to be Arely Gallegos with her thought of the day. So, Arely, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arely Gallegos. I'm from Honduras. And my speech for today is believe in yourself and achieve your dream. Let's get started. As a child, I used to live in this small town in Honduras. The school of our community, they used to bring missionary group from Spain. I was in third grade, and this couple from the group, from missionary group, they came into my classroom to play and read stories, Bible studies. The couple names were Nasha and Isabella. I was so happy to see new faces, new people in my school, in my town. They talked great thing about Spain. Since then, I had a dream. I wanted to go to Spain, and I wanted to work like them. I thought it was fun. Many years later, I moved to the US as a teenager. I graduated from high school. I went to college. I got married to a businessman. I got the opportunity to work in a business, and I became a businesswoman in the pizza industry. Well, 26 years later, I went to Spain And let me tell you, it's a beautiful country. I fell in love with the country. I have been into the country 6 times in the last 2 years. I love the Spain that much. Well, then when one day I thought, what do I actually wanted to do with all the experience and knowledge I have reached through all those years? Working 12 years in the business, restaurant business, it was great. So I thought about the influence that Isabella and Nacho made on myself as a child when they told me that there's beautiful things in the world, to believe in myself, have dreams, have goals, and work hard for something that I wanted it and study, finish my education to have a better life as an adult. So I created Adelia Heart Foundation, which is my logo, here in Honduras. I started sponsoring kids while I was in the US, but then I moved back to Honduras to work 100% on that foundation. So now here I am, fulfilling my dreams and the people that work with me as well, and the kids at school. I decided to create Adeli's Heart Foundation back in 2018, and we promote the advancement of children to education, faith, and community involvement. First, when I used to talk to people about my dreams, I had mischievous people that they didn't believe on myself. So I thought I can do this. I believe in myself and I will make the commitment to go for it and make this dream come true. So how did I manage to make my dreams come true? I pray every day. I believe in God, and He have helped me to believe in myself. I work hard. I find a way to make things happen. I protect my dreams, and this is how I have become successful with the organization to provide things that poor kids don't have at the school. So I have donated computers, uniform, shoes, clothes, and I'm so happy now that I'm here and working with the people that actually need. So if you have a dream, please go for it. I know we can accomplish anything we want in our life because if we believe in ourselves, I know that we can make anything happen. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.
Okay, feedback. Who wants to share their feedback?
I have so much to tell you, but 4 minutes is just a little bit for me.
You should have picked
But
a
you
project
said a
speech.
lot.
Ilham, I'm gonna take the screen from you a second, well, or more than a second, and I'll explain why later. So feedback, guys, girls. Well, guys, there are no guys here, only searching me, I think.
Yeah.
Feedback for Arely.
Uh, can I?
Go ahead, by all means.
I really liked your enthusiasm, your encouragement. You are one of people who achieve their dream, your dream. So I really liked your speech. The emotion that you spread when you were talking, because you were very excited, but because you are involved in this experience. So thank you for sharing your experience. This is my feedback.
Thank you, Nina.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Nina. Someone else? Anyone else? Sarah, you're speaking, I think, but nothing is being heard.
Yeah, now?
Yes, now yes.
Okay. Well, I would like to give feedback. So really, congratulations for your thought of the day.
Thank you.
And also congratulations for using word of the day.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, so as I'm giving you feedback, because I also want to be comfortable with I want to do all the things. I want to do thought of the day next. I was looking at basically the outline or the recommendations for thought of the day. So it's actually saying for people who are yet not comfortable with giving longer speeches. So for me, your execution, your passion, what you transmitted was wonderful. I mean, from the beginning, as a thought of the day, I was thinking about it was all about, chasing your dreams. And of course, in all of it, that was the thread that went through it. So that was great. It was coherent in that sense. But as content, because of the content of what it was, it will be brilliant. Again, I'd love to hear maybe the longer version as one of your speeches along the way. So congratulations. So maybe for the content, thought of the day was maybe too small to contain everything that you could have shared with us. So congratulations again for your thought of the day. And I'm looking forward to more speeches from you, knowing that you'll, in longer time, you'll definitely be able to give us paint more pictures. Because at some point you're mentioning Nacho and someone else. I was like, who's this? But you have to go fast. So, thought of the day maybe works better as like favorite recent movie, something like that. That is kind of, shorter. But for what you've done, brilliant. And I'm looking forward to hearing that in a longer version at some point. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll add a few things of my own. I totally agree with Sarah that you wanted to say much more than the time you had, but that's real life. I mean, especially if I'm not sure if you wanted to speak more about your foundation or you wanted more about the message to drive home the message that we should pursue our dreams. I assume it's the second, but the problem is that the example that you gave about your foundation was a bit lackluster. I mean, we were left desiring to hear more about what that foundation does. So it's like, I created a foundation, so by all means follow your dream. And it was like, oh, tell us more. You used a lot of time in the introduction. Try to keep it shorter, go to the point straight away, especially if you don't have that much time. don't you don't need to do meta speeches like the thought of the day today is going to be about blah blah blah, because you don't have time for that. You could have used those for 20 seconds for something else. I'm going to be mischievous, and I'm not sure about counting your use of the word of the day because you mispronounced it. You said mischievous, which was exactly the point, not mispronouncing it. It's mischievous. But other than that, great, very fluent, very passionate, and it shows once more, it proves once more that when you speak from the heart, everything flows much more naturally.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much. Ilham, I'm going to take the screen from you because otherwise it's distracting for the speakers to be constantly things moving. And by the way, you never know if a presenter is going to use this shared screen function, so you shouldn't count on that. The screen belongs to the presenter. So instead, I don't know if you can show something physical, or if not, just type in the chat that when someone is like red, green, yellow, well, the opposite order. But otherwise, like taking the screen and with the mouse moving all the time, and we need to see the speaker as well. So we have, do we have Hakima here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Are you Hakima?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's what I mentioned before, that the Zoom name never matches the. Okay, that's fine as well. About your background. Okay, so Hakima is going to share today a different kind of speech, which is today we travel to 4 to 6
Yes.
minutes. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So for my activities, well, from where I come from, or more exactly from Algeria, I come from Algeria, and Algeria is a big country. And this means that we have different ethnic groups, if I may say. And this means different traditions, different beliefs, and so on. So each region, you may say, in my country, in one same country, each region is kind of different from the other in terms of beliefs and traditions and so on. Today, I decided to take two ethnicities or two different groups from the many others in my country. And today we will travel to Kabylie, which is one region in my country. So here in Algeria, and sadly, I would say, there is kind of conflicts between these two groups, the Kabylians and the Arabs. So me, as an Arab girl, today I decided to speak about Kabylians as the group that I have been taught since my childhood that I don't know if that's the right word, but I have been taught that we should hate that group because they are different and so on. So I grew up like this, having this idea that they are different from us and that we don't share the same thing. So, and we are the Arabs, which we are the majority, I shall say, and they are minority. So we have always been like knowing that Algeria belongs to us only as Arabs and not to them. Until someday I decided, I mean, as I grew up a little bit, I decided to discover this region that I have always been taught simply to hate. So I decided to dig into their culture and so on. And one opportunity that I had is meeting a friend which was living in my Arab country, in my Arab region, and she was Kabylian. So that was a great opportunity for me to discover their traditions and to discover more about them. So once I went to their house and met their family, and I loved many things about their culture, and it turned out that it is not as I thought at all, for they were so much nice people, they were very intellectuals, and they did not show hatred towards me at all. So one of the things that I loved when I visited them was something called agrom, which is food. And so as I went to their house, they offered me this food to eat. And as I ate it, I shall say, it was too simple, but super delicious. And I had to ask about it and to know the recipe because ever since I'm making it till now. So the things that, and so this was Agrom, one thing that I loved about their culture in general, I should say. Another thing also they have offered me was kind of also a dish they don't cook but they eat, which is dried figs, dried figs with olive oil, and it tastes so delicious. And this is the second thing that I was missing my whole life. I did not believe I've been missing these things my whole life just because I've been thinking that they are not a good group. So I had to learn how to make this as well. So I ended up from that day having, being a big lover of agrom and of figs with oil, and they became my favorite dishes, and I have shared them with my Arab family. And before I cook it for them, I did not say that it was Kabylian, but then I said that this is where it comes from and so on. And I explained that they were very welcoming, and they are actually these are only two things that I love about their culture, among the million other things that I won't have time to say here. Um, so what I wanted to say is that we just have um, we have to take time to know each other as humans, and to put these stereotypes and prejudices that we hear from other people about other groups aside, and rather we just leave the chance to the humans inside us to connect with each other and to know each other better, because I believe that these differences are what, they build us as humans, if I may say. And the fact of missing knowing each other just because of some stereotypes is really a loss. And this is it. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So what is your name then? Hafida or Hakima?
Yeah, I'm sorry for this. It is Hafida.
Hafida, okay.
Yep.
So before we go to the feedback, could you explain in your own words what's the purpose of this section of Today We Travel To? What did you get from the documentation?
Yeah, according to what I have read, it has the aim of like, how can I say? Excuse me, please. I lost the word.
It's okay. It's a hot question.
No, it's not a hard question. I know the answer, but it was unexpected question. So as I have understood that this activity is for the purpose of bringing people together despite their differences and so on. Because as human beings, I mean, we have grown up having this instinct of wanting to belong to a certain group which looks much more like us, and this leads us to to reject other groups just because they're not like us. While I mean, in this world, different groups are expected because we as human beings are not the same. So and this differences sometimes they create conflicts between, I mean, useless conflicts between groups. They are not needed. So the aim of this activity was to show that despite the differences between the groups and so on, there are many other there are good things in other groups that are different than us that we may like despite the fact that they are different. And this is in general what I could understand from this.
Oh, great. I couldn't have studied better myself. Indeed, the purpose of this section is not just giving any speech, much less a touristic speech, but it's finding a group that is usually discriminated, and you mentioned it, and finding something good about them and talking about that. Usually in a local club, this works much better because people usually share those, as you said, those common pointless, useless conflicts or prejudices. Here it's a bit alien because everyone comes from a different country and we all have like our petty hatreds. But the purpose indeed, as you mentioned, is trying to combat that toxic tribalism that sometimes is artificially created, by the way. So that's why I asked you about that, because I'm super happy that you actually did this section exactly as it was intended. So congratulations for that. And now, any feedback that?
Yeah. Okay, concerning what you've been saying, like I'm getting like too emotional when I heard you talking about that, because like I'm an Amazigh, like I'm not Kabyle but I'm Shawi, and we kind of hate it from those Arabs, like from people who think they are Arabs because they've been indoctrinated to think that they are. I was getting really emotional. I really liked your speech, so yeah, keep it on.
I'm so glad you are. Oh my God! This, I mean, I had two friends who come from Kabylian friends, and when I got close to them, I was surprised why this idea that we have to have like negative ideas about each other are created. I mean, it was pointless. I'm so glad to know that you are from
They're created because they're useful sometimes. It's explained how you can use them for
to manipulate. To manipulate people and so on.
Indeed. So, any feedback? Nope. No one.
Me.
Okay, Serge.
I really enjoy your speech, the way you developed from the main idea, what you were trying to say at first, and then you develop the content, and also in the few minutes that you did have to explain the whole situation, you did mention the conflicts and the things, but also the things that you like about that special ethnic, and also at last you give your thought about the conflict, that what you think of the thing that you learn, the thing that you have learned about don't judge a book by its cover. And I really, really, really enjoyed your speech. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. A couple of points for improvement from myself. I already praised you enough. The ending was a bit abrupt. Well, that's an understatement. The ending, it just ended suddenly. Try to have in every speech that you give, no matter if it's, I don't know, 2 hours or 2 minutes, you do have to have some structure, a clear beginning, a clear body, and a clear conclusion. And the conclusion is super important. I'd say that it's even more important than the beginning. The beginning is what captures the attention and guarantees that people are not going to be bored or walk away. But the ending is super important because it's what remains. There is a psychological principle called the recency principle that we remember, obviously, what has been most recent to us. So they remember that. And if you and you have a brilliant speech, but then you end it with, and that's what everything I wanted to say, it's like, everything, well, the whole energy the high level of energy that you had, it just went through the floor.
Yeah, I understand.
Try to organize the speech a bit more. And one piece of advice, because actually this section is also for training you, confronting people that have those prejudices. Try not to mention too much the fact that there is hatred against this collective or that they're discriminated, because if you're talking to a person that hates that collective, that has been indoctrinated, you're lucky enough that you have, let's say, your own thoughts. But for someone that hasn't developed that kind of, let's say, illumination, they tend to get more defensive if you start talking about you shouldn't discriminate them, if you start confronting them directly. So that's why the whole purpose of the speech, and I think that's mentioned in the documentation, is not trying to convince someone explicitly to give up their beliefs, give up their hatred, because you can't make that happen, unfortunately, research has shown. Instead, just focus on, from this collective, I like this, and and you have, and they have this food, and you leave it there, and let him process that. This collective that I've been taught to hate, they do have some nice things. Maybe I should try that food. But if you end the speech with saying, "So you shouldn't hate it because we're all human," and all that, that is usually counterproductive. It's right, but it's counterproductive.
I see. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on. And we have another thought of the day. So, Nina, the floor is yours. But you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Today I would like to share some information which I collect about a woman who inspired me, Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel, her name is Angela Cancer. She's born in north of Germany, but she lived in the south of Germany under the Soviet Union authority. When the country had already economic issues and geographical divided. She studied physics and she got married with her classmate, Olker Merkel. She got a PhD in natural chemics, and then she got divorced. She worked as a chemical expert, and after the wall of Berlin wall, she came in of the economic world, and she became a member of Democracy Party. Then got to the parliament, to Minister of Women and Youth, to Minister of Environment and Nuclear Safety. She got married again, but she kept her first ex-husband name. In 2000, she became a president of Democratic Union Party, and then a first consul in Germany history for 3 times: 2009, 2030, and 2070. She was designed as the one of the 8 powerful women in the world, according to the Forbes list. Even she wasn't able to have kids. She was contributing in helping women, kids, and families. She encouraged German to have kids by offering them vacation for during a vacation for 14 months for both parents. She improved economy of Germany by fixing a minimum of wages to 8.2 euro for 1 hour, which is one reason of decreasing poverty in Germany. The employment had decreased also from 2000.9% to 4.9%. She makes German the first in Europe and the fourth in the world economically. I don't think Angela Merkel was mischievous for her country, because she did a lot. That's all for me today.
Thank you so much, Nina.
Welcome.
So, feedback for her.
Hey, come on.
I
Come.
think it was
Don't worry, you'll get your feedback. Okay, Adelie.
she was clear in her speech. I like it that she give out events and dates. That's very important. Going back to many years ago and kind of let you go back and think about those times, back on the days. She was very specific about when she said about marriage, keeping the first husband last name, and I like it. She was a little more detailed. I like it. It was good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
More feedback. Remember to try to find something. Oh, there's so much noise.
Sander?
Yeah. Give me a second to I silence everyone else. Try, please, when you give feedback, everyone try to suggest things or ways in which Nina can improve. So, Rodika, yes, please.
Yes, I liked the speech because she informed us a lot about the Merkel. We know a lot of things today, but I would like to say that in the next speech, I would like to listen. I would like to listen why she liked Merkel, why Merkel is for her idol. It was like a conclusion. I miss the conclusion. This is.
Thanks. I want to say that, yeah, I fully agree. I was thinking exactly the same thing. It wasn't clear because you started with, I like this woman a lot. And then you overwhelmed us with data, but it wasn't exactly clear how that data was relevant to your liking of that woman or which pieces of data. Because was it because of her economic success, or was it because he preserved her first husband's name? And that's like a moral statement from on her side. You have to decide why you like her, and then what you tell us has to be supporting that argument. So, for example, if you like her because of her economic achievements, it's pointless to mention her marriage or her whether he kept the name of the husband or not. If on the other side you like her because of her moral values or moral statements, then giving us percentages about economic improvements, it's not really helping in any way. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if anyone remembers already what those percentages are. They hurt more than give credence to or support to what you're going to say. Try that. Try to make it so that everything that you say in a speech supports your core message, and that core message is clear. Don't just like dump a lot of data on people, because it doesn't add really. It actually distracts. More feedback. Anyone?
Me,
Yeah, Sergio.
I agree with Rodica and Alexander in the thing that you don't have to say so much of her biography. Instead of that, you have to say more, if she's your role model, more things like you did say. For example, that although she haven't got kids, she managed to help another families who did have. So that's what you admire of her. And so for the next speech, try to say one or two things about, for example, what she did or what she does, and then more things about that you like about her. And so we can get to know the person that you like and why do you like her. So that way we can manage to kind of know you as well. And I want to ask Alexander a question that you have told me already in my speech. How we can end a speech without using finally, or this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, or something like that.
Well, there are many traditional ways to end the speech. One could be a call to action. One could be an interesting fact. One could be tying with something you said at the beginning. One could be ending with a quote, or one could be like it's a kind of tie at the beginning with restating what you just said. So, for example, if I don't know why Nina liked Angela Merkel, but if it is because of her like personal trajectory, starting from she was born in the communist democratic Republic of Germany, and then worked in the unification of the country, and then became elected the first female chancellor. If that is the thing that she likes in Angela Merkel, then you can then end up with saying that, um, let's say, and something like, and this is an example of a great woman that shows how you can succeed despite your origins through perseverance. Despite very poor origin, you can do a lot of your country, a lot for your country. You can make a difference. Some sort of conclusion. Although I don't like too much. This is my personal opinion, though. I don't like to end speeches with giving the moral of the story to the audience. I prefer to end with something that makes them arrive to that conclusion, instead of me giving the conclusion explicitly, like, despite your origins, you can. But you can end with a quote, or you can end with a summary of her trajectory, or something like that. Or you can just recap the speech.
Thank you.
What do you like, by the way, about Angela Merkel in the end?
I like because she succeed as a woman. She's
Okay.
One of she's a powerful woman. She succeed. She studied physics, and she tries another thing, and she succeed on it. And she helped her country.
you can end somewhat humorously as well by saying like every time you think you're only a poor nerd living in a dictatorial country, remember what happened to what Angela Merkel did for her country. Yeah, well, she was a nerd. She has a doctorate in chemical quantum chemistry. So that's as nerd as someone gets. Okay, let's move on. We don't have Olga here, so we won't hear from her. Do we have Oydiat? No, I guess no. Then we move directly to the hot questions section. And that's, yeah, that's your task, Lisa. So the floor is yours.
Yes, okay, so hello guys. I'm gonna be asking you guys questions, hopefully hot questions. Every person who answers gets 5 seconds to think and 2 minutes to give an answer. Great, so who's gonna be the first one to answer? Who's gonna volunteer? Come on, volunteer. Or should I choose?
Choose me.
Yeah, go ahead and choose someone. Victimize him or
Who's
her.
that? So, how about Lufqir? Lufqir, are you here?
I'm here.
So your question is, what do you fear the most while public speaking? Hello?
Hello.
Your question is, what do you fear the most while public speaking?
Can you repeat, please?
I said, what do you fear the most while public speaking? Looks like your internet is really bad.
Yes, I hear you. I don't know. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so what's your answer?
As my friend said, I fear one.
Huh?
Okay, I think. What is the question exactly? What do you feel the most? I fear to lose a beloved one. Like my father, my mother. Is that question?
Okay,
I
thank
think
you
I have bad connection for this. Not listening very well.
Okay, that's okay. So I guess we will move on into another question. Someone else, please.
Me?
Yes, Sergio, I think.
Exactly.
So how about you name a problem that you don't wish future generations to face? Please elaborate.
I didn't get it. Would you repeat it one more time, please?
So I said, name a problem that you don't wish future generations to face.
The thing that I always, or that I have been thinking about it for a long time is actually not, it's not recommendable in these times to have children. Why?
Okay.
Because of the economic problems that we all, and in all countries we fear, we face, and also because of the overpopulation of the world. with more people. I don't know, it could be less food or more fauna and more animals to kill in order to feed us. So it's the main problem to resolve other ones. I think, and also don't bring children to the world right now, because you are just giving this earth with, I don't know, these pandemics, earthquakes, a lot of problems that we have been facing among these years, right? And I don't recommend, I don't know, my friends, I have friends, couples that are married, but they also don't want to have children because of that reasons. It's up for each person to choose, but I think that would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. I like your point of view. So someone else for third question. Yes, Nina. What is one skill that you really want to acquire or improve, and why?
English, of course.
Okay, so what's your reason?
Basic questions. I would like to improve my English, my speaking especially.
Yes.
I wish to be able to do speech correctly, improve my writing in English. The reason, because English is an international language. It's a language of science. If I would succeed, I should improve my English. A second skill.
Okay.
I'm learning cooking.
Great.
I would like to improve my cooking, if I can say that, to do delicious dishes for me and for my family. For my pleasure and for the pleasure who I love.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So do we have time for another question? Yes, Mr. Alexander.
Madam Timer should say.
I don't see her.
Yeah, she's missing. I think you have time for another one.
Okay, so who wants to go for another one? Someone else?
Yes, can I please?
Yes, of course. So what causes you stress in your life?
That's a hard question though.
Sorry.
I said that's a real hard question.
Okay, try.
No, not that it's hard, but well, the thing that stresses me the most is maybe the fact of not reaching my goal after I have devoted much time and energy in working in it, and which just recently happened to me. I have devoted 5 years of my life to, believing that this goal will be reached if I do this and this and that for it. At the end of the journey, after 5 years have passed, something happened and it just could not be reached. So this became kind of stress for me. Like from now on, I don't wish to be thinking this way, but I think I will be always careful or hesitating to that I don't put much effort in something because I would be fearing or stressing that it won't work at the end. And this is what stresses me the most in life, I guess.
Thank you. Great answer.
You're welcome.
So do we still have time?
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I think
Welcome.
we're already a bit short of time.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for the questions. I want to take the opportunity. I'm going to be a bit mischievous, also to remind you the word of the day. about the reason why we do these hot questions, and it's I'm going to play a clip from that recently happened in Minneapolis. I'm sure you're all aware of what's going on in the United States with the murder of this George Floyd. And this happened at a rally, at a demonstration with people that were protesting the situation, the police violence in general. And the protagonist is Jacob Frey, who is the mayor of Minneapolis. And I want to share with you how he answers a particular question, that a really hot question that he's faced with. Let me see.
Yes or no question for you. Yes or no, will you commit to defunding Minneapolis Police Department? What did I say? We don't want no more police. Is that clear? We don't want people with guns toting around in our community, shooting us down. You have an answer? It is a yes or a no. It is a yes or a no. Will you defund the Minneapolis Police Department? All right, be quiet, y'all. Be quiet, because it's important that we actually hear this. It's important that we hear this, because if y'all don't know, he's up for re-election next year. If y'all don't know, he's up for re-election next year. And if he says no, guess what the we gonna do next year?
Louder and clear. Louder. Yeah. All right. Line. Don't waste our time. Get out of here.
Okay. Did you manage to hear it, more or less? So what do you think? How do you think he handled the question that he was faced with?
That was a really hard question for that, man.
It is a really hot question in a very high stakes environment, which is exactly.
Especially if he wants to go for re-election, that is.
Well, to be honest, it was hot because of the context, but it shouldn't be hot for someone like him because it's an expected question. It's not like here that you come and you're surprised by the question you're going to be asked.
It's really serious, you know, like if you're gonna go against or with the police, it's kind of, that's a serious.
So, what do you think? Did he answer more or less correctly? Could he do something better?
I think he did right.
Uh-huh. Someone else? What do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that. And I think it was a very good example of a hot question, you know, because, and it's true that in that context, but of course, you know, that he was asked, you know, will he get rid of the police in a city? You know what I mean? And of course, it was a hot question. And the way he answered it, for me, for instance, I would feel that he was honest, because if he had just said, yes, I will get rid of the police. Okay, so of course, in this situation, which is incredibly tragic and terrible, we're seeing a section of people who are misusing and abusing the law, etc. But of course, imagine even for Black people themselves who have been held by the police. You don't want to get rid of the police as a whole. So if he had answered, yes, I will get rid, because he's been threatened, he could have been a populist. And I feel that it was a mischievous question, all in all. And I think that by saying, I do not support, he actually answered it with a lot of emotional intelligence to not be incendiary, you know what I mean? Because he could have been very aggressive in the answer, but he said, I do not support the total abolition, which is, you could say, no, I will not, but he said it in a different way, which I think was very emotionally intelligent and answering a hard question like someone with experience or showing leadership, okay?
Mm-hmm. Other opinions? Rodika, what do you think?
I don't know what to say. It is a difficult subject.
It is, but if you're going, I hope all of you will use public speaking for and leadership for important things in your life. And there are going to be difficult situations. It's not going to be what what is your favorite actor all the time.
Yes. I don't know what to
Okay,
say.
it's fine. I I personally think humbly, although obviously the guy does have some, pardon me, my French as they say, or my language, he does have some balls to show up there in the middle of the demonstration. But I do think that he could have had a better answer, because there are many ways in which you can say the same thing, and that is, for me, it was very abrupt and it was a bit confrontational given the context. And that's why immediately he got a very negative reaction that could have even escalated further. What you usually have to do in those circumstances is acknowledge what's happening with the other people. You don't need to say point blank, no, I want the abolish the police, because people are not really asking about that. You have to be aware that people don't always express correctly what they're asking for. They're not asking for a lawless society or a society without law enforcement. So, in my opinion, he should have said, although, and that's an example, even though the woman is saying a yes or no question, that doesn't place any restrictions really on you. The fact that the other person is saying, give me an answer like this, well, no, I'm going to ask the answer the way I want to answer. If you want the answer you want to hear, then go ask a mirror. But I would have stated, well, of course, not in that, I'm not in that situation, fortunately, but I would have come with some prepared examples of how the police does good. And I would say, here are some examples of what the police does well, and we want to keep that. And I'm sure you don't want, for example, your child being harassed or bullied. I'm sure you don't want your neighbor being robbed. I'm sure you don't want your property being stolen from you. So you try to find common ground with the opponent, and then you say, "But I agree with you that some parts of the police, that particular kind of behavior, abusive, needs to be abolished completely." That's my personal opinion on how to handle that situation, that kind of situation. And it's an example. Don't just point blank say, no, I don't agree. Yeah, you're honest, but if they are going, if you are going to cause a revolt right there and then and riots, then what was the point of being point blank honest? Okay, let's have a small experiment. I did it in the other group. It worked quite well. I'm going to split the meeting in two groups. We are 12 people, so I'm going to split it in two. And I'm going to give each group a debate question. You're going to talk among yourselves about trying to find the common ground on that question, and then you pick someone from your group, one person, to express, hopefully, a consensus opinion. If that's impossible, then you can pick two people to express dissenting opinions. So I'm going to split the meeting in two, and let's give us 10 minutes, well, 15 minutes for the debate. I'm going to let Zoom handle that. And I'm going to enter each group and paste the question in the chat. So let's go for it. I think you get an invite or something to join the group.
Yes.
So yeah, please do.
Okay, Alexandra is first.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first group, and I have. Okay, I'm going to paste it in the chat so that I don't read it to you, and you decide. There you go. It's a question on whether active assisted euthanasia should be legalized, or the deeper question of whether we have the right to decide to terminate our own lives. So have a try at it. debate it for a while, 15 minutes, and let's see if you can reach some sort of consensus. And pick someone to represent you for a minute, no more. Maximum, well, maximum 2, to express an opinion.
Awesome.
Well,
Yeah, I will make sure to give you both recipes and you're gonna love them. I believe you me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Should I, by the way, I don't know, where should I leave it for you? I don't know your Facebook or something.
Okay, I'll give it to you in the private chat.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question to you. I'm going to paste it in the chat, and then you can debate for about 15 minutes max to it on it, and try to come up with a consensus position. If not, then you can have more than one person defending. There you go.
Oof.
It's my own opinion,
Okay.
girl.
How many are agree?
I agree with her.
I agree with her.
So
I would
no?
like to say that if we talk about the hospital, the machine or pain, if a person have some problems, health problems, in this case, I will agree with this transplant. I don't know if this works.
Okay, it looks like we're all on the same page, so we are not agree, right?
Yes, me too. I not agree.
Perfect.
Can I add something?
Yes.
For me, it isn't our decision to end life. It's the decision of God. Only God can decide who and when and how the people are going to die. Not people who are going to choose how or when they are going to die.
Yes, but how about this question? Would you be willing to stay attached to a machine? Do you agree with this? The question here in the chat we have. Would you be yes, do you agree with this? You would like you to stay attached with a machine? Yeah.
I believe yes. Because like Nina said, we don't have the right to take somebody else's life, or neither the family is. I know it's a really hard situation. In my personal opinion, I have been there before with relative, but I believe I'd rather stay in the machine until God said it's your turn. And
in the case if someone will need your, I don't know, your organs, for example, in this case, because maybe you cannot live, but someone else can use your organs to live.
When you die, they can use it. I don't have problem with that, with this kind of sharing. But for me, it's like you decide when you are going to die. Even someone is has the pain, and for me, I would never have the courage or to end life in general. Even not for animal, not especially for human.
Let me stir the pot a bit without saying what's my opinion. Isn't
Well,
the fact that you're connected to a machine already a defiance of what was supposed to happen? If you say that only God decides when you die, isn't the fact that you should have died, but oh, we have the technology to prevent that?
Yeah.
if it is my destiny to be connected to machine and have disease, I will be like that. I won't end my life, even I'm sick. This is my own opinion now.
Yes, for me this is egoism.
No, I can. It's dependent to my religion. It isn't selfish.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It's according to my religion. In my religion, it's forbidden to end life, even if you are sick. Understand?
Okay.
Marion, do you got anything to say?
I agree with Nina. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Okay. I'm agree with Nina because even when we still attached to a machine, that's mean we have another chance to live. Maybe not for us, for our family, for our friends to see us. I don't know.
But are you willing to live any kind of life? Imagine one in which you're completely paralyzed, totally. You cannot move anything. There is that illness, by the way. It's called lockdown syndrome.
Yeah.
How would you
I
imagine
know.
living 60 years like that?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I know.
Maybe
But
you
I
can
don't-
recover unexpectedly.
Hasn't happened so far. If your spinal cord is severe, there's no recovery from that.
We always have to believe in miracles. I believe in miracles.
Yes, but sometimes it's difficult.
Are you willing to condemn someone to torture for that belief of yours?
There is a hope. There's always a hope.
But shouldn't the person suffering be the one deciding that?
Well, in my opinion, if I have my husband or my kind of family, I have done it. But we have been in that situation, right? We didn't took that chance. We just took the risk. In a week after, my cousin died. But we prayed. Yeah.
Guys, I have already experienced this this kind of situation. I saw my someone who I really love suffer from disease before he died. I could never end his life, but I pray that God help him to don't how can I say it, to don't feel this pain, but I would never end his life.
So do you have a unanimous position on this?
What?
Does everyone agree on the position?
No, not me.
That's good.
No, because
I think Marion agree with us. How about Lisa?
Yes, I do agree.
With whom?
With
against euthanasia.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Rorika, so they couldn't convince you. Anyway.
Yes, no, I don't know because I saw a lot of cases and I understood that someone else needs our
Okay,
organ.
what if for the rest of you, what if the person that is suffering is from a different faith?
Yes.
I have one question. Do you know the person that are healthy but something inside are not healthy and they need a transplant? They are healthy, but they need, and they are waiting for these organs. Do you understand what I would like to say? So in this case, what we can do? Alexander, help me.
Well, the problem is that that argument doesn't support your position really, because you can get the organs before or after anyway. Or do you think?
Because look, in some cases, when a person is, in this case of willing with a machine, in this case, their organs are used for other people that are healthy, but they need something. And in this case, because the doctors say, they don't say that we lose your organs for them because I don't know what. I don't know how to explain. But I agree with in the case when the doctor said that is difficult and they will not survive, only in this case.
Doctor is human and he can do a mistake, just to mention.
But they will not decide, they will not say this after one checkup. They will analyze and they will need time for this conclusion.
I saw a film about this thing. Yeah. It named Me Before You. Do you see it?
Yes. It's a movie, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I still want an answer to the question that I asked. What isn't the existence of medicine itself a defiance of your destiny, so to say? Because, for example, imagine that you develop a cancer that's treatable with surgery. So should it be treated then?
Can you repeat, please, Alex?
Imagine that you develop a cancer that's treatable, that can be removed surgically. Should it be treated?
Yes,
or
of course.
why of course?
Of course.
Why of course? Because surgery increases the odds of death, obviously. I mean, you can have complications in surgery, and the cancer might go away as well. So
But you have sure.
Aren't you defying the fate?
It's different. It's different because you have a chance to recover.
So?
The surgery. Sure.
But you're increasing the odds of someone dying.
But it's different because if I have cancer, I'm taking my own risk. If anything happened on surgery, like you said, yes, there's a pros and cons, but there's no, my cousin, my brother, my mom is not going to decide if I'm going to live or not, but it's my choice. And like I said, obviously we all want to get better, and there is a help. And there's medication for it. And if it works, it's work. If it's not, you're willing to risk it.
Yes.
Okay. And how is that different with your personal choice to end your life?
Because once you're on that situation, you're not deciding. Who's deciding is your family.
Why?
Because
the issue is not someone that is incapacitated. It's active euthanasia, meaning that he decides. He himself or she herself decides.
I'm sorry. I was my understanding was if somebody was already intubated, but
no. He is perfectly conscious. That's
okay.
That would be what you're saying is passive euthanasia. I'm talking about active euthanasia, which is someone like actively deciding to end his own life and being assisted in that.
Okay.
I think it is different from euthanasia because in that case you are trying to recover. You are not going the wrong.
Okay, but some people opt not to have chemotherapy, for example, in order to have shorter life, but with more quality. How is that different?
Is that different?
I mean, you can, and there is an acquaintance that I know that is just under that situation. She got cancer, and she decided not to go to chemo, and instead have enjoy what remains of her life with quality, instead of trying to fight a cancer that had a low probability of recovery. So how is that different, in fact?
I mean, that's her choice. She can change her mind at any time. But with euthanasia,
But you can't. If you
it would be too late to change your mind.
In cancer, even if you change your mind too late, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you don't start chemotherapy immediately, it's pointless to change your mind after that. So it's not something that, okay, I'm going to live 6 months when I have 7 to live, and on the 6th I decide to have chemo, and then I'll live 2 more years. No, you'll live 1 month.
For me, the reason why I don't agree with euthanasia is because when we are sick, we all get depressed. And we can make choices in that time. So when you go through that phase, you may change your mind, or you can be how do I say? You can be influenced from your environment. Everyone says you should do euthanasia, but you don't want to really do.
Okay, so I guess in this group we're going to have 2 people representing the group. One is going to be Eureka, and from the remaining ones, who's going to speak for 1 minute? You have to decide who's going to represent the position of opposing euthanasia.
Nina, do you want to do it?
Me?
You want to improve your English? That's a better way to do it.
Okay, okay.
So we're back here. Let's wait for everyone to rejoin.
Okay, sorry. So,
wait. You know you're eager, but wait. Okay, let's start in reverse. The question that I asked the other group, let me see if everyone, everyone's joined here, was Sarah's group. What makes us human? Animals have been shown to learn, to dream, to behave altruistically, to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. And recently, it was discovered that chimpanzees can even plan ahead, stockpiling stones for throwing them at visitors at a later time, and even construct a mental model of other people's perception by concealing the stones when the visitors became too wary. So what makes us human then? What does it mean to be human? So who's going to speak for that group?
Is it our group?
No, yours was, oh, sorry, yes, or maybe no, I don't know.
Okay, shall we start? Just
come on, who's your representative?
yes, it's us. Shall I go ahead? Okay. So for us, we have, according to our discussions, we have reached the point that it is true. Even animals, they do empathize with each other. They even have developed tools to hunt and to bring food for themselves. And also, they have a certain language. They do communicate with each other. So they basically have lots of things in common, just like us humans. So what is then the difference? We reach the idea that animals, they are driven by their instincts only, and as well as us humans, we also have instincts, but what makes us different is our cognitive ability. It is true that we also have instincts just like animals, but we do not only rely on our instinct to take our decisions. For example, an animal for himself to decide whether he should empathize with this member of his family or not. I mean, excuse me, I just have to put this another way. The idea is that animals take decisions based on their instincts, in the sense that if a member of a family in an animal is facing a problem, this member will side with his family member just by instinct, just because he feels that this person belongs to him. not because he is right or wrong, not because he used his brain, but because he followed his feelings and his instincts. Whereas us as human beings, we do not just rely on this. We decide whether we have to side with this person or another person based on our thoughts about him. For example, if you put a child and you ask him whether he should side with his father or with a stranger based on his instincts, he would basically choose his father because his feelings are driving him to his father. His instincts are driving him to his father, which is similar to animals. However, a person that is, a human being that is older, who has a better cognitive capacity, he would rather use his brain to arbitrate or to choose whether to side with this person or not. To say whether this person is right or wrong, not only based on his instincts. And this is it.
Okay.
I hope it was clear.
It was interesting, but what do you call an instinct then?
Sorry?
Isn't that a bit of a circular reasoning? I mean, you attribute everything that animals do to some mysterious entity called instinct, and then you arrive to the conclusion that animals are driven by instincts.
Would you please repeat your question?
Yeah, isn't that circular reasoning? What is an instinct, Ben?
An instinct is, personally, I would say an instinct is anything that is apart from the cognitive ability, anything that is driven by emotions and by our belongings. And this is it. Like, if you feel like this person is right, you would directly say he is right, not because you have thought and came up with a conclusion that he is right based on this and this and this and that. No, but you followed your instincts just because of something emotional.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Okay, let me read the question of the second group.
So
let me read the question first. So, should active assisted euthanasia be legalized? Do we have the right to decide to terminate our own lives? If yes, how would we make sure that people willing to end their lives are not merely temporarily depressed? If no, would you be willing to stay attached to a machine and or in pain for the rest of your life without being able to move at all? Should assistance to commit suicide be a crime? If no, how would one tell the difference between that and a murder? So we have two opinions here. So, Nina, I think you're going to speak for the opinion that opposes.
yes,
Okay.
for the majority of our group, we think that ending life is it's not our decision, but it's the decision of our God. Uh, we should just follow our destiny. If our destiny is to be attached to a machine and be sick until we die, we will leave it like that. We don't have to choose if someone should be kept or should be kept alive or ending his life. For that reason, we are against euthanasia.
Mm-hmm. Just one remark. It doesn't add to your argument to say that it's from the majority, because that's a fallacy. Just because it doesn't add to your argument saying that it's a majority opinion, because that's not really an argument whether there's majority or minority.
I know. I know. Each person has its own argument, but
No, it's not because of that. It's because a logical fallacy, we have to at some point start doing the critical thinking path as well. A logical fallacy is something that doesn't drive the conclusion. So just because many people think in a particular way, that doesn't mean that they're right or that the argument is correct. And we try not to use fallacies in our reasoning, just like the circular reasoning of what we define as an instinct. And the rest is your argument. It's fine. So Rodiga, you have your dissenting opinion.
Yes, my opinion is that I agree with Intasia in the case when we talk about the medical issue. Only in this case, if we have if a problem has difficult problem, health problem, in this case I will agree with Antasia. Yes.
Euthanasia. Yeah.
Yeah. Only in this case, not other case. When we talk about a disease or something rare, in this case, I will accept this.
Okay, great. That was an interesting experiment. I hope you found it illuminating. Let me see. Well, I see that our timer disappeared. I don't see her anymore. Yeah, probably something with the connection. So we're not getting a timer report. That sucks. And anyone wants to share the general feedback about the meeting, since we don't have a meeting evaluator either? You can share your thoughts now as well.
It was nice, different.
Remember, when you give feedback, try also to find points for improvement, not only nice things. Because the whole point of the whole system is learning, and to learn you need to, in the next cycle, there has to be some sort of small improvement. If you're always saying it's if imagine that the feedback you get here is everything you said was so nice and you were perfect on that, next time you're going to do exactly the same thing and exactly the same thing. It's a bit pointless. It becomes a social meeting.
I have something
Yeah.
to say. I kind of like today to interact more. They have different opinions with the another member of the group. That was nice. Happy to see that. Also, I think if we are participating in anything like this, we should have the cameras on, and just to get to give maybe the other person opportunity to spread herself, like I did with Nina, because she said that her wish or her dream is to improve English. So if I have something to say like her, like I said, I could have done it, but I feel more comfortable for her to maybe learn new words with the topic, maybe, and pronunciation, things like that. So I gave her the opportunity for her to do that. But I think we can have the cameras on and to go to see.
What do you mean about the cameras? I didn't get that part.
The at the beginning I saw different people that they don't have the video on. I'm sorry.
Yes. That's everyone knows that they should turn on their camera, except like.
And for the rest of the group, for what I've seen so far, this is my, I think, second time in this group. Most likely everybody's like very confident of what they're doing.
Any other feedback?
From my side, maybe not exactly because of this meeting, what could be nice to have and as a way to motivate others, namely myself, well, I'm going to do it anyway, to kind of, jump on and to get the meetings going, is perhaps maybe mention, like, tally up the people, because, for all people who are participating in thought of the day, whatever, maybe can be like, oh, Nafida, it's her second, Hafida, it's her second thought of the day, whatever, stuff like that. I think that would be nice to kind of bring that to the meeting, because guys, it's a huge effort, you kind of, to recognize that, and it's also going to give you and all of us a sense of progress, for each person's X number of whatever. I think that would be a nice little,
totally.
even like just a role like a timer, because it's all things that we're all learning and,
Totally agree. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Totally agree. Any other feedback? No, nothing to improve. Okay, then let's wrap it up. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Hope to see you,
Thank
some
you.
of you at least next Monday, even despite the end of the lockdown, but still. Okay, see you
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye, Alexander. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hafida, check your comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.